Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So my candle's gone out because it's one of those that, hang on a sec, I could probably see if I could light it. You probably know by now I really like to have candles. So today I'm going to do a reading on Harry. Cover a couple of things, Prince Harry, so that we know what Harry we're talking about, although I think we know. A lot of people are still saying Prince Harry. I'm a bit confused on doing that, but anyway, here we go. As usual, making a mess. I hope everybody's well. There's a couple of things that I know that he's currently in the news because I think his lawyer's saying that, you know, he's disclosed some substance abuse, and understand substances probably drugs, but I don't think he's disclosed it on the papers for his immigrancy or visa status in the US, which is probably causing a bit of trouble. And I think his lawyers are now stating that what was stated in the book is not right. And what's interesting is that I think it's on Amazon listed as fiction now, but in other bookstores it's listed as facts or non-fictional facts, non-fictional. So it seems like Amazon's already moved it to fiction unless it was already there. I haven't really followed, I haven't read his book. Has anyone read his book? Whether you're a fan or not, has anyone read his book? All I see is that more embarrassing things are happening, and I think it would be really a good idea if they both just went into a little bit of their own space to gain dignity again, but it seems like they don't really care. But honestly, I think there's works in the background that I'm going to pull some cards on. But I feel like, I said it in the last couple of readings, Harry will reach a tower moment where he's like, I'm done. I am so done. And that's when, you know, Meghan, who was stronger, has her little fall of like, I don't wish any of this on anyone, right? But do you know when someone has been like going at something, trying to make something work, and maybe has been happy but a bit blindsided, or realizes what the truth is, or realizes that they've been, you know, doing things that are not the most appropriate, whether it's due to morals, whether it's due to integrity, whether it's due to institutional stuff, whether it's due to just beliefs, whatever it is. And they suddenly have this wake-up call, or they're so tired of putting the work in or being the tail of the main body or the dog. And so what happens, that person gets so fed up, or there's a tower moment, and then the other person becomes, I don't want to say weaker link, but then realizes, actually, I'm not sure I've really appreciated what I've had, kind of thing. There's a bit more to that, but that's what I was trying to say in the last couple of readings. And that's when the other person's awakening kind of happens. Do you know when you lose a partner and you're like, you don't know what you've got until you've lost it? I don't mean that's exactly what's going to happen, but there's something around that. And the partner that ends up leaving is like, you've done so much to me and I've tried to be here, but now I've just had enough, because they're absolutely bad with everything. That's kind of what I mean, but that's not necessarily the exact situation that I'm talking about. Well, that's what I mean there. So it's interesting to see now, obviously, not obviously, but some of us might know that sometimes these kind of documents can be published. I know that, for example, in a missing person, let's say missing person, but no, it was not missing person. One of the cases I'm doing on a little girl, British girl that I've read on, They were in Portugal. You'll know which one I mean. What am I saying? I thought that there would be, what's the word where they're not allowed to be approached or asked about certain things, and the documents don't have to be disclosed by legal or the judge into the public. And there's a lot of cases where they are disclosed, like we saw recently with Jeff E. So I wonder if that's going to be also a question, like his documents disclosed, which is, I don't agree with those things. I think like in terms of data of people and stuff like that, regardless, I think respecting privacy is needed. I don't think things like that need to be out in the open. So, and I think that's what will be the decision, not to disclose. I don't think there's a need to disclose, but it's going to be interesting because either, now it's like I've told all lies in my book to sell, or it's kind of like I need to just go with it and see if the visa comes through. And then obviously the US are going to be in a situation where this person's had special treatment. So that's a bit of a shamble. And probably when I think about it, I see Prince William is like, okay, another thing now. It's so embarrassing. That's how I feel about it. Let's just see something. Okay. And obviously there's been talks of him saying that he'll come back and do duties. But again, is that something that he said in an interview that was not to do within, like, when he was in Canada skiing or in the snow recently, he spoke about his trip to see his father, and he said, yes, I did go, and, I will go again. And people were like, I don't know, it was all taken out of context that he's done an interview to disclose that he went to see his father so that he could get publicity. So has he actually said that in terms of, but obvious, like, in an interview, in the same interview, and saying, I'm here to help if my family need help. And so everyone's like, he's saying he wants to come back and do royal duties. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it is. Okay, so this is why I pulled these cards, because his energy right now is trying to make things work, keeping things together, trying to make things work, holding on to things, okay? He's also in a sense of trying to hold on to his stability. He's trying to hold on to also having that connection with the royal family. All right. I think he's also trying to think of the future of his children. All right. And that's causing him a lot of worries. There is a female energy, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, I get with top placements, that I feel is very much in his energy. And I feel like she brings in some emotional balance, which then helps him move forward and drive forward. I do see that, you know, his connection with his father is a momentum of, you know, he's got love for his father, but he does also have those darker thoughts at a time. But at the moment, he feels like full force. He's got a lot of emotions for his father right now and the situation around that. But he does have a lot of anxiety at the moment. He does feel quite hopeless. Some of it is probably, it could be victim. It's feeling like you're stuck and you can't do anything about your situation. And sometimes when you're in deep sort of, you know, I'm not saying I'm not diagnosing anyone here, but if you're in sort of a lost, and I did see that in the last reading where I said, you know, sometimes when a veil's been put over you, you're kind of lost and you act from a place of ego. But I meant that in that reading from a different energy where there's advisors, or there's, you know, I go back to spiritual advisors as well. But here I'm talking about him. And I feel like this is his thoughts alone that he's trying to battle here. I do think that he's trying to make amends with William as well. But in terms of his father, I do see the continuation of trying to, you know, go back and forth in movement of visiting his father. There's definitely a worry and an anxiety, which to the point it could be that he's having sleepless nights and really feeling overwhelmed on how to move forward when it comes down to his stability, when it comes down to how to make things work in his life and balance them out. I don't feel any deep spiritual or religious sort of connection here, which is interesting, which I think is going to develop for him. I do think there's a need for him to take some time out, and I think he is feeling a bit under the weather. I did say during my last reading that he had a heavy bags under his eyes. I felt his skin looked oily, and it could be that, you know, maybe there could be drinking there, maybe to cope with this. There's a lot, you know, so here now, he does want a new beginning, okay? He does want to feel the warmth and the sun, and he wants are they starting any new projects? He would like success through that. But to be honest with you, I don't feel like this is his main focus, although he is putting energy into whatever projects they're trying to do. There's a lot of hidden fears that he's not speaking about, and grief, and there's some things that we are not aware of. All right, there's a lot of mental activity with him, and he does need to take time out to be alone so that he can be his own guiding light. There's heartbreak and grief here, and it's from his own actions as well. So he needs to surrender. think here Meghan has got the drive for the new project. His energy towards Meghan at the moment is trying to bring balance and patience into the situation. I think there could be harsh words and it could be coming from him as well, but there is anxiety and sleepless nights around this. And the reason I pulled this cards is because I think there's going to be talks very soon about them internally that we will not be aware of possible separation. I don't know if they're living together, if they're separated. And there's going to be worry there about obviously his children. But this has not reached the stage of intervention. We've got the Fool, the new chapter, the heartbreak. There's the legal advice, the inner strength needed, working on something, give and take. Double six confirm, and the Hanged Man comes out again. The need to defend. He's obviously really worried. He's going to be very worried about his visa status as well. It's like another thing that's in the news, isn't it? Look, we've got this card come out again. Eight of Swords. Definitely not in his best place. And the Chariot in reverse here, which is not being able to move forward. He's not being able to move forward. He does feel stuck and bound, which at the moment probably, you know, he's in a stagnation mode, waiting to see what happens with his visa. And there is definitely between him and Meghan some talks going on in the background. I think Princess Diana is trying to help him. There's that High Priestess. There are things, and if you saw the last reading, I mentioned about something. And it's interesting, I remembered the last reading I did on Catherine, I said about the Page of Wands, remind me in time. If it comes out, I'm going to tell you what this Page of Wands in Catherine's reading has just come to me. And earlier today it was coming to me as well. So I wonder if that's slowly coming into transition or into 3D, what I need to say. But here, you know, he's not in the best place. And I do think there's talks that we're not aware of that's hidden. And I'm getting something that happened around the Virgo full moon. And I think these past couple of days he might have been questioning a lot. I mean, understandably, if you've got this court case, you are going to be really worried. You know, you're going to be worried, especially when it's all over the news again. Yeah, it is, you know, there is a worry around the kids. Not there's anything wrong with the kids. I think it's the discussions with Meghan, understand what I'm trying to say. Because I do think there's talks in the background. There's talks in the background. Let's get a couple of cards from here. There's talks in the background of, you know, sort of oh, the other thing that I wanted to say is on Prince William, actually. But I might do a separate reading so I don't confuse it. But just in case I forget to mention, hang on a sec, because I want to do an update on Prince William and Catherine. Now, Prince William came out and said, can we have a ceasefire against the war on Gaza? Which I found very brave to do, especially after I'd seen him and Kate were at a wall somewhere months and months ago, and you know, they had the Jewish hat on, and it was very much in support of Israel. And now he's come out just saying ceasefire needed. And obviously the media have gone into a frenzy saying there's going to be a backfire now. And isn't it what he's done is what all leaders should do? Be brave in the voice of humanity and justice. And I just find that really interesting, because obviously many leaders are still sat behind their walls and not able to say what they need to say. There are leaders, I think, in the Middle East that have taken a stance, or not dealing or exchanging products or whatever flights to Israel. But in general, I think that was a brave thing to do, and I think we need to recognize that's what brave leaders do. And it's just a sign of how much he's going to be more, probably I mean, he might have been told don't do it again. But I think he's going to be a lot more connected with the people. And if he continues this way, I think it will be beautiful to see someone who's authentic and able to voice to a certain extent for justice and humanity. But he will have limits on what he can say. So I've been shuffling the cards and not asked the question. I'm going to ask the question that I want to ask. Advice for Harry now: serendipity, merge with the flow. Remember here I was saying he needs to take time out. He needs to just move a little bit with the flow, or, you know, surrender a little bit. You know, they need to take a step back. And here it's kind of like, be aware, you know, there is here opportunities that are rising, but they need to choose the right ones, merging with the flow of life and trusting its lights and shadows, like the visa situation like the discussions he's probably having in the background in terms of his marriage and certain things that I can see here, and why I did the reading. What has brought him to this point? But still, regardless, the universe always says, you know, you're always poised for the opportunity right now. You're at the right place where you have to be, and you've got to recognize signs of serendipity that are around you that are helping you. And some of that might be through spirit, through moon cycles, and also through like Diana, Princess Diana. Like it's hard to know that what he's doing is what he's there's a reason where he's going, and I've mentioned where I see him in the future. There's like a rebirthing that's going to happen for him. And it's going to be like a fresh potential of like abundance and awakening. But everything happens at the right time, the right place. Interesting, I say place. So is it going to be the US, or is he going to not be in the US? And it's exactly as it's meant to be. Now remember, with this status of the US visa, it's a very difficult thing. I mean, if he doesn't get it, his family, and they're probably having talks around that. There's fear here. There's a lot of anxiety. So that's where I'm going to end this reading for today, and I'll see you in our next reading. Make sure you catch up on the readings that are available on the channel, and also subscribe so that you get notified. Once you subscribe, if you click on my channel, you will see where you go to subscriptions in line, you will see all the videos that are coming up as premiere or latest. But if you go to actual channel and click on videos, sometimes they'll be like showing you a premiere, and then there'll be like 4 videos of yesterday and then another premiere, so you might miss it. So that's why it's always worth subscribing, and then just checking your subscription homepage where it lists all the latest, and then going on to the videos, making sure you scroll through. So I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.